G'day guys and welcome to my NRL 2022 mid-season review. Let's get straight into it. Round 1 kicked off with the Penrith Panthers facing the Manly Sea Eagles in a game that some people saw as a potential grand final based on last year's form. Nathan Cleary was out to start the year and not the back-to-back premiers, but the defending premiers beat the Sea Eagles 28 points to 6. This round saw a lot of upsets, but it was only round 1. We saw the Raiders defeat the Sharks, followed by the Broncos defeating the Rabbitohs, and Newcastle, who came into this year as one of those contenders for the wooden spoon, defeating premiership favourites, the Sydney Roosters, 20 points to 6. We saw a great effort from the West Tigers at CommBank Stadium against an understrength Melbourne Storm side. And to close off the round, we had a very high-scoring encounter between the Parramatta Eels and the Titans in round 1. Plenty of new faces at the new clubs. Obviously, there's plenty to go through, but I'll go through a few. Matt Burton, Tavita Pangai Jr. at the Bulldogs. Bailey Simonson at the Parramatta Eels. Melbourne Storm welcomed Xavier Coates. Dane Gagai returned to the Newcastle Knights. Adam Reynolds didn't play for the Brisbane Broncos in round 1, but obviously started the season, I think it was round 3, his first game with the Brisbane Broncos, and been in great form ever since. And Nico Hines, welcome to the Sharks in round 1, so plenty of new faces for these NRL clubs. The second round saw the Melbourne Storm face the Rabbitohs in a great game on Thursday night that ended up going to Golden Point. The Storm were very dominating, but Latrell Mitchell just turns that Rabbitohs side around. He's a huge factor for them, and we've seen that. The Roosters bounce back against the Manly Sea Eagle. Parramatta are defeated on the Siren at PointsBet Stadium against the Sharks, two teams that everyone had thrown around the top 4, top 6 arguably at the start of the year. And then the Broncos defeating the Bulldogs to finish the round on the Sunday. South Sydney picked up their first win of the season in round 3 over their rivals. A great performance from the Bunnies against the Sydney Roosters, 28 points to 16. And the Parramatta Eels defeated the Melbourne Storm in a classic Golden Point game, 28 points to 24 at Amy Park before the Titans, a trend they've been doing this year, unfortunately. Had a great lead against the Canberra Raiders, but in the second half, Canberra fought for a 24 to 22 comeback. The Manly Sea Eagles won on the Sunday 13 points to 12, just like last year, their first win of the season, 13 points to 12 after a struggling start, a home game, but it was at the Central Coast. A lot of people thought they might have the same type of fashion, but no. The Cowboys, what a great season the North Queensland Cowboys are having, currently sitting in the top 4. They defeated the Brisbane Broncos at home, 38 points to 12 at Suncorp. Fantastic performance from Jeremiah Nane, and he scored a double or a hat-trick. As we move into round 4, we saw a close game between the Titans and the Tigers, and the Titans snatch it in a one-try NRL game. Mad scenes. This one wasn't a great game of footy, but just what happened went down to the wire, and crazy game. The next game I want to speak about is the Roosters defeating the Cowboys 28 points to 4, starting to hit a bit of form before Parramatta put on a show against the Dragons in round 4, 48 to 14. A great game from Mitchell Moses. The Cowboys were defeated at Redcliffe by the Warriors in Golden Point, 25 points to 24, before the Broncos were sunk by the Roosters towards the end of the game, 24 points to 20, and the Parramatta Eels survived a fight from the Titans, 26 to 20, just like their encounter earlier in the year. One team knows how to blow a lead, and that is the Canberra Raiders leading the Cowboys, losing that game at home, 18 points to 12. As I mentioned, as I talk more about it, the Cowboys have had some fantastic wins and sitting at a very good point on the ladder. In round 6, the biggest upset of the year, in my opinion, at $11 odds, the West Tigers against the Parramatta Eels at home. It was also the anniversary of the club, a game that we should have gotten up for, but Jackson Hastings was the hero, kicking a field goal pretty much with 5 seconds to go, if I'm not mistaken. I thought this game was going to go to Golden Point. Obviously, at this point in the season, I'd never been to a Golden Point match. I had tickets to Storm and Eels, but didn't attend. In round 7, the Sea Eagles scored 22 unanswered points in the second half, coming back from a 32-0 defeat at half-time. They lost the game 34-22, but a really good fight back from that team. The West Tigers, who defeated the Eels by 1 point at CommBank Bankwest Stadium the week before, defeated the South Sydney Rabbitohs 23-22, but it was Luke Brooks this time kicking that field goal before the Newcastle Knights kicked a penalty goal against the Eels to take an early lead, but Parramatta won the game by 37 points. Dragons fans will absolutely love round 7 for their victory on Anzac Day over the Sydney Roosters. Always a good game, but the Dragons getting the victory this year, 14 points to 12. But I tell you what, on the Monday, 13 tries to 2. Xavier Coates scoring a hat-trick in this match. Pappenhausen scoring a double. Jerome Hughes scoring a double. A new club record for the Melbourne Storm over the Warriors. A dark day for the club at Amy Park. The Melbourne Storm winning by 70 points to 10. We move into round 8 where there was a bit of an upset. The Brisbane Broncos, obviously they're in some great form now, but I think at this point of the season, beating the Sharks, their defensive effort in their 16 points to 7 victory, really good. I attended a high-scoring game between the Rabbitohs and the Sea Eagles, 40 points to 22. The Warriors defeated the Raiders in Golden Point. I just want to mention, if you've seen my tipping video, I predicted the Raiders to beat the Warriors in Golden Point 21-20, and it was the absolute reverse. So this was a shocker of a tip from me to get this one backwards. The Bulldogs pulled off a huge upset against the Roosters at Acor, 16 points to 12. Trent Barrett, who's obviously no longer with us on the sidelines, absolutely up in arms. Like against the Sharks, I think it was last year. It could have been 2020. I'm pretty sure it was last year. The Cowboys continue their form against Parramatta, 35 points to 4 in a big upset victory at our home game in Darwin before the Melbourne Storm put 50 on the Newcastle Knights, who decide to go for a penalty goal again. Round number 9 on Friday night, a very memorable one, especially for Eels fans after their, I think it was 20 straight wins at home for the Penrith Panthers at Bluebet Stadium. They were very dominant there. The Parramatta Eels defeat the Panthers 22 points to 20. A great game of football, one of the games of the year, and obviously for Eels fans, a really, really high moment for us. Pappenhausen went down in round number 9 after a great Dally M run. He's still on that leaderboard for a reason. The Storm recorded a 42-6 victory over the Dragons. The Cronulla Sharks had a player sent off and a player sin bin, so it was 11 men on 13, but the Warriors couldn't get the job done. 29-10 loss at PointsBet Stadium, even with those players out. Last year, the Sea Eagles put 50 on the Brisbane Broncos. This year at Magic Round, it was the Broncos defeating the Sea Eagles 38 points to 0. The Warriors came back from being flogged by the Rabbitohs, only to lose the game 32 points to 30 in a very close game. But let's speak about it. I know you all want to know. Since 2018, I've been making NRL content. I've been making NRL game day vlogs. I've been making predictions. I've been doing everything. And one thing I've never done is seen Golden Point until Saturday, the 14th of May. The Dragons and the Titans, rainy conditions, it's pouring down. Jermaine Asako scores. The Titans win 20 points to 16. It went into Golden Point ×2, the second half of Golden Point. I wasn't even planning to vlog this game, but as you can see, it ended up being a vlog. Go and check it out if you haven't already. One of my highlights of the year, getting to watch Golden Point. The Penrith Panthers defeated the Storm 32 points to 6 without Pappenhausen and Jerome Hughes and a pretty full-strength Panthers. This is when I felt like Jerome Luai really started to hit his form. At Magic Round, the Raiders upset the Cronulla Sharks 30 points to 10 with Jesse Ramian on the sidelines as well as Will Kennedy. The Parramatta Eels were defeated by the Roosters 31-24 in another game where the Parramatta Eels started to come back, but the Roosters just too good on that Sunday afternoon. In round 11, the Cowboys continued their winning streak and beat the Melbourne Storm 36 points to 6. I'll tell you what, there's a few players missing, but really great game from the Cowboys, absolutely dominating. We move into round 12, the Indigenous round, the Melbourne Storm. They record a win for the first time in 2 weeks after back-to-back losses at Amy Park. Penrith Panthers and the Cowboys could have been a great game, but Unfortunately, the Panthers just too good defensively with a few players out there, 22 points to 0. The Brisbane Broncos came back from 24 points to 4, I think it was, against the Titans to record an 11-point victory, 35 points to 24 in that one. The Tigers leading the Rabbitohs at halftime on the Saturday game, and it was the Rabbitohs running away with it, 44 points to 18. The Cronulla Sharks were defeated at home by the Sydney Roosters in Indigenous round, 36 points to 16. My best bet of the round was the Roosters, 13 plus for that game. And on the Sunday, saw the Dragons and the Bulldogs. Thought this was going to be a really scrappy game of football. Ended up being a really high-scoring, entertaining, and really loud crowd at Belmore. Absolutely loved. One of the games of the year to watch, in my opinion. 34 points to 24 victory for the Dragons. And a great game between Parramatta and Canberra, a very seesawing back and forward game. Canberra had plenty of opportunities, but Parramatta got it done off a great performance from Dylan Brown, who I'll probably be speaking about more in this video, 28 points to 20. 2021 saw Tom Trbojevic win the prestigious Dally M medal. Voting has now gone behind closed doors, but let's speak about the top contenders. Ben Hunt from the Dragons on 19, Isaiah Yeo on 17, Nicho Hynes on 16, Mitchell Moses on 15, Ryan Pappenhausen, who's been out for 4 to 5 weeks now, on 15 still, James Tedesco moving up on 14, Cherry Evans, who was there last year, on 13, and Cameron Munster on 12. So yeah, plenty. Underneath it is Adam Reynolds, who's been in some great form. I'll tell you what, there's plenty of great candidates here, especially Pappenhausen. Depending on how long he's out, he could be a huge smoky. Ben Hunt's been in great form, but I think the Dragons will struggle towards the end of the year. And I think a little bit of bias could be coming in here. I think Mitchell Moses is a great shout, being on 15 points with the draw that we have coming up. But I think Isaiah Yeo for mine, I think being on that 17, being at lock, being part of the Panthers, with Nathan Cleary clearly not getting as many Dally M points as he probably should in some games. I think Isaiah Yeo could be on that top spot by the end of the year, but my second pick would be Mitchell Moses, and my third would probably be one of those fullbacks, whether it be Tedesco, my pick from the start of the year, or Ryan Pappenhausen. Now let's get into some stats a little bit. The top point scorer is Ryan Pappenhausen on 127. Behind him is Ruben Garrick on 112. He was the point scorer last year. Val Holmes from the Cowboys on 107, and Mitchell Moses on 105. The top try scorers are Talon May, the backup from the Penrith Panthers, who's found his mojo on the wing, on 12. Ryan Pappenhausen also on 12. Xavier Coates moving up on 11 with Alex Johnston. Mitchell Moses has the most try assists on 17. Behind him, Chad Townsend 13. And Cameron Munster and Luke Keary both have 12. Run meters, at the moment it's Dylan Edwards, the meter eater, 2,891. Tedesco behind him on 2,616. Corey Oates having a fantastic season, 2,142. Joseph Tarpanay leading the way for post-contact meters on 890. Chasing him down is Payne Haas on 821. And Dylan Edwards on 805. Offloads at the moment, very close battle. You've got Tavita Pangai Jr. on 28. Nicho Hynes on 27. Viliami Kikau on 25, and Ryan Madison, who's been on the bench for the Eels but been sensational, on 24. The top tacklers for the year at the moment have been Lachlan Croker on 558, Damien Cook, who's been some great form, especially tries as well, on his attack, 547, Happy Coruscant on 533. Now that we've spoken about the year that's been so far, let's speak about the year to come. First and foremost, I'll be doing my 150th NRL vlog. It will either be the Tigers and the Eels at Leichhardt, or a trip to Suncorp to get behind my Queensland Maroons against the New South Wales Blues in Game 3. I'm really looking forward to this week's encounter between the Melbourne Storm and the Sydney Roosters. It should be a very quality game. As we move into other weeks, I'm just having a look now. Round 16, we see a rematch between the Panthers and the Roosters where they'll be fired up, as well as a rematch between the Cowboys and the Broncos. Should be a great game of footy in round 16. Round 17, a rematch between the Storm and the Sharks. The Sharks have a point to prove, and the Eels and the Tigers at Leichhardt as I mentioned before, in the bye week, and plenty of games coming up for the international, so keep an eye out for that, guys. I think tickets come on sale soon for those games. There is a game at Central Coast Stadium near me between the Roosters and the Dragons, so that will probably be a game that I personally attend. But there should be plenty of fiery encounters throughout the year. You've got the Sharks and the Panthers on the 23rd of July. You've got the Rabbitohs and the Storm. Latrell Mitchell should be back at this point in the season. Obviously, the news today of the two coaches being sacked, Nathan Brown and Michael Maguire. I mentioned earlier that Trent Barrett has also been sacked. I think I also mentioned that I'll mention Dylan Brown, so I'll chuck in there that I think Ryan Pappenhausen, Dylan Brown, Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo, just some of the names of players who have really, really stepped up this season and been in some great form. Probably Selwyn Cobbo from the Broncos on the wing. The Battle of the West, circle that one, Friday the 29th of July. And this time it is at Parramatta Stadium. Really looking forward to that encounter. In round 25, you've got the Eagles and the Storm at Bankwest. That should be a great game to conclude the round as well. So there we have it, guys. That is my 2022 mid-season review of the NRL season. Let me know your favourite moment from the season so far. Thank you so much for your support over the channel. Plenty of new initiatives with the Kahoot. Plenty of new vlogs coming out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as we are chasing that goal of 5,000 subscribers. A road to 5K, and I'll see you guys later.